Rajdeep, shall we start?
Yes, Guruji.
You could introduce yourself and then start. We have this gathering which we had in two platforms. One was called the Maya Satsang, that was initiated by some professors of philosophy who were in Delhi, Bhubaneswar, Assam. After my few lectures in philosophy, in some webinars which they initiated. We had 10 years back some groups where we were learning most of the holidays sitting together with the youngsters, and that program was called the Shiksha holiday program, as Shiksha was my trust, and there were people who were BTech students, MBA, working in different software companies, and we had good number of volunteers at different places. We had some volunteers from Anandapur. I did large programs under Shiksha in Anandapur in those days. Today evening, some of the students are meeting me virtually at 4 o'clock to share their 10 years back experience. That was in 2010 January or so. So there are few children who are constant learners, love to learn, love to share, and recently we started one program called eTube, Education Electronic Tube, which could put some lectures by participants on various topics of general interest. So we had few lectures which are eligible for posting onto YouTube, and they were posted. There were some dialogues, probably there are bits and pieces, lot of information which will come soon on the YouTube platform. So that's when we had this group, Rajdeep or Rajdeep? Rajdeep, who is a professional. Rajdeep, I know very little about you, so you will have to introduce yourself and start your presentation. So it's more academic. It's more academic because the title itself says the awareness, the introduction. So I'm sure that's going to throw some lights and then gives us a lot of knowledge. So this is a platform where people can come and then talk. Don't expect too many participants and listeners, but it is all for us to think, and definitely we will post on to YouTube. So it is all of us to share mutually for people who are interested. And this also is open to students who wanted to make first presentation. Probably last time we had somebody who was presenting on clinical data analysis, which the candidate itself presented first time. And today we have people from Kerala, people from Mysore, people from Andhra, Hyderabad. So I'm sure we will enjoy listening to Rajdeep. So welcome Rajdeep to this platform, and love to see you introducing and then talking.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Guruji. First of all, my pronouns to Guruji and everyone here. My name is Rajdeep, as Guruji already informed you. And today, actually, I'm going to tell you about the topic of awareness on learning difficulty. In the field of rehabilitation psychology and social education. So today I'm here with a very simple thought that why should we live or label shit with, in a different ways, manners. For example, if you see a child who is not studying well, that doesn't mean that child itself is, because I have seen many people calling them lazy, angry, they won't sit at one place, they don't have attention. I don't know why these people or who gave to particular people to label them. So whenever I hear these kind of things, really my heart cries. So from that time onwards, I have decided, yes, I need to give at least few awareness programs, which may not be into the interventional way, but at least if I provide the awareness, yes, there may be few problems. That is the reason children are behaving like this. And most of the time, even we as a society are responsible for the children to go into the for anxiety or any type of depression. So yes, with that thought, today yes, to provide the presentation about awareness on learning difficulties, which is a very common problem nowadays. Topic. So let me go ahead with that. Just give me a moment. I will present my screen with Guruji's permission. May I have, so as I don't know the audience is from which platform, but I made this presentation equally for even a layman can understand what are the learning difficulties involved. So there are so many words about this learning disability and like dyslexia, dysgraphia, everything. But today I want to make it as simple as possible so that even a layman can understand this. And I clearly inform each and everyone, please don't call that as disability, though there are names. But even myself is calling it as learning difficulties, right? So let me start. Every child is precious. Every child is precious. Everybody has their own uniqueness. Everybody has their own new skills. We can't judge a child by seeing only the academics. So by this, I will start the topic. And before we going further, I would like to say, Guruji, and everyone, that yes, in this world there is a lot of darkness spread in the form of innocence. And I actually told this word innocence. Many people generally consider and apply this word to address children, but it is not children who are actually innocent. And we can clearly say the society is innocent, because without proper knowledge, we are labeling the children. Without proper knowledge, we are actually labeling the children. I'm repeating the sentence. Why? Because there is a lot of things happening in the world. We need to learn so many things. But by just seeing one particular or a few more symptoms, we generally just directly label them. We don't have any right for that. I may be rude here, but please excuse me. But yes, we don't have any right to label them. Explain about this animations. The first one is actually thinking a lot. So this is a great situation happens even when you go for any school. When a teacher is teaching, few students may not be understanding each and everything. So they'll be always thinking. And the other few students, they'll be like they're just like robots. They follow whatever we teach. It happens at home also. But other people, other few set of children who can play with the word. They have a lot of knowledge and all. They can easily grasp everything. So they can do anything. But if we consider only the children who are actually very good at each and every aspect, then I think that perspective is totally wrong. So let me go to the next slide so that you can understand clearly. Yes. So first of all, I would like to tell a proper definition for learning disabilities, because often I see many children, many people who label them with a proper learning disability names like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, all these things. But I hope at least if you know the proper definition from given by IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disability Education Act, then I think it will be better for understanding about learning difficulties. Right? So specific learning disability refers to a disorder in one or more of the basic psychological processes involved in understanding or using language, spoken or written, that may manifest itself in an imperfect ability to listen, think, speak, read, write, and even spell or perform mathematical calculations. This is a perfect definition given by IDEA, and even still we are following that. So before we go further into this learning disabilities, I would like to ask you a few questions like, have you ever thought a child was lazy because they seem to never start an assignment or homework? Or have you ever thought making many spelling mistakes, letters or number reversals? Like maybe if there is a PAD bad, the child may read that particular one as DAD dad. That is mainly because of perceptual understanding difficulties. Right. So, for example, when a child is there at the home and his father is asking, "Give me that bat," the sentence is "Give me that bat." But a child with these particular difficulties has a perceptual difficulties. So because of that, what they will understand is, give me the fact. P and P has a similar sound, but for us it is there is a lot of extent, there is a lot of difference in that particular sound. But that particular sound may perceive this as P. P sounds as P and P sound as P. But here bad, that child will perceive as fat. So he'll directly give his dad a fat. Right? So these kind of difficulties will be there. Right? If you see any kind of symptoms, then my actually what I want to tell you is, please don't judge them and label them with this particular name. I will tell you, there is a very important slide in my presentation, whom to refer. Please refer your children to only those professionals so that we can clearly understand and we can actually work out to eliminate their problems. Yes. So, yes, great minds think differently. Though we have learning difficulties and we may already feel that it is a great evil and we can't do anything and all, then let me tell you something, like great people in the world has the similar and almost the same difficulties. For example, if we take Einstein, so do you know that Albert Einstein couldn't read until he was 9? Right? Not only him, even Walt Disney, General George Patton, and Vice President Nelson Rockefeller had trouble reading all their lives. For example, Whoopi Goldberg, who is a very good actor, and Charles Schwab. Many others have learning disabilities which haven't affected their ultimate success. I would like to tell about more about this SLD, like specific learning disability, which includes dyslexia, executive function disorder, perceptual disabilities, brain injury, minimal brain dysfunction, and developmental aphasia. These are the names. And then SLD does not include. You need to understand what it does not include as well. It doesn't include learning problems related to physical difficulties. For example, visual, there may be blind people out there. We can't call them as blind people. Visual impairment, hearing troubles, motor skills, emotional disturbance, cultural factors, right? Environmental or economic disadvantage. For example, a child is from a very remote area who doesn't have any proper education. He doesn't even have a schooling. Even at home also, their parents may not be literate. At that time, we can't consider them into this learning disability category, right? So, and even this SLD is mentioned in this idea, as I already told you, Individuals with Disability Education Act, which is there in 2004 also, right? So, let me go for the next slide. I would like to tell you few facts about learning disability. Those facts are 15% of the US population. That means 1 in 7 Americans has some or other type of learning difficulty. So this is according to National Institutes of Health. And as many as 80% of students with learning disabilities have reading problems. So there are different problems, as I already told you. It may be from the mathematical side, it may be from the reading, it may be from the motor skills, and even there are problems with the direction, timing, everything. There are so many things here, right? But 80% of the students of learning disabilities is having reading problems, right? Next, learning disabilities, generally, they often run in families. If one person is having a learning disability in that particular family, there is a lot of chance that even their child is also getting learning disabilities, but it is not mandatory. It is not at all mandatory. Their child can become the most successful person also, right? The next one is learning disabilities should not be confused with other disabilities, such as autism, intellectual disability. Previously, we used to call it as mental retardation. Now, the name has upgraded like intellectual disability, deafness, blindness, and behavioral disorders. None of these conditions are learning disabilities. Please, please, please understand this. In addition, they should not be confused with lack of education opportunities like frequent changes of schools or attendance problems. As I already told you in the previous slide, there may be problem with the environment also. For example, if you go to this army schools or the people who are in defense actually, they need to constantly move from one place to another place. there may be a chance, but it is not mandatory as well. So also children who are learning English do not necessarily having a learning disability. For example, a child is from Marathi medium or Malayalam or Telugu medium for almost 6 to 7 years. Then all of a sudden, if their parents want to give him a bright future, they think that, and they join that particular child into English mediums. So that was the first time he's actually learning English. And how can you expect that he can talk and write, read everything properly? We can't expect that. That is not a justice. But still, people often think that they are having these particular difficulties. And one more important thing is, most of you already heard about attention disorders, such as attention deficit hyperactive disorder, that is ADHD. This is a very common term generally. And other learning disabilities also often occur at this particular age. And next thing I would like to inform you about neural network. Generally, when a newborn baby is born, in their brain, the neural network will be like this. You can see in the screen, very less neurons, and there are a lot of gaps. Right, gaps in the sense, it doesn't mean they are not connected, but there is a lot of gap. I can explain you later about this properly. And after 1 month, they are actually seeing, learning, listening, everything. Because of that, the neural network path is building stronger. You can find more neurons born, more tissues born. Next 9 months, you can find it become more aggressive. It is becoming more powerful, right? And in 2 years, if you can see, there is a lot of neurons in the brain. But when that person becomes adult, we find actually less neurons. But that doesn't mean there are actually less neurons. If you clearly observe, in 2 years, there is thin pathways. But when an adult is learning the same thing repeatedly, that particular pathway will become stronger. However, at the same time, if they are missing something which is very, very important, then those neurons or the tissues will disappear. That is the reason. Now, if you see the below part, there are scan copies of two particular brains. The first one is a normal person's brain, and the second person is extremely neglected case. If you see this particular normal person's brain, it is filled with neurons. There is very less gap, and at the same time, extremely neglected case, you can find a lot of gap in between the neurons, right? It is almost like a handle we can carry the brain, right? So we should understand this particular problem in the children. It is not that they are lazy. They may be having some difficulties. We should identify the proper age, and we should actually guide them, channelize them into to a proper person who is a professional in this one. So let me go for the next slide. Yes, this is very, very important. Types of learning disabilities. There are so many types in learning disabilities, right? And it is actually an umbrella term. For example, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, ADHD, ASD, high functioning disorder. This is high functioning disorder, which is autism spectrum disorder, and SLI, right? So, for example, here, if you see this ADHD, ASD, everything, in this one, those are itself a very big terminologies, and these are not learning disabilities, but in those particular things, learning disability is also one of the parts. And not only that, associated emotional and social difficulties will also be there in this particular learning disabilities term. Right? So, in this learning disability, I can tell the IQ is proper. The average IQ will be there, 90 to 110. But they may be having a lot of cognitive issues. So we need to properly work on the cognitive issues. And in this presentation, I'm not at all going to give any idea about the intervention, how we need to work about those children. I'm not giving the intervention. My total expectation today is, please learn all these things so that we can help any child who is actually suffering with the depression when they are labeled by any person. I would like to talk about this more. But before that, I would like to inform you that terminology and the understanding about the terminology is only because of your idea, so that you can guide the children or the parent to refer those people to the professional. That is the only meaning here. Now, what is this dyslexia? Dyslexia is a language-based disability. In this one, most of the people will find a problem in reading. They have the disorder in reading, and they have the problem in trouble in understanding written words as well. As I already told you, I have already given a great example also. PAD bad, they may be reading it as PAD pad or PAT pad. Sometimes it may happen. They may find reversals, transversals, and so many other things. Okay, dyscalculia. In this dyscalculia, a mathematical disability. Okay, they have the problem in expressing arithmetic or conceptual wise symbols. They may see this into mark, that is for multiplication, as plus mark. They may find the division symbol as a plus mark. Like that, they may be having perceptual difficulties. And dysgraphia, it is purely writing disability. They read properly, they understand many things properly, but they have the problem in writing. Few may write micro letters, few may write macro letters. Right. So, and even they have a lot of problems, spacing, no alignment at all these things. And there is another disability which is auditory and visual processing disorder. This is totally sensory disabilities. We have senses, right? So these are belongs to those sensory disabilities in which a person has difficulty understanding language despite normal hearing and vision, right? And slow learners. These are not actually comes under this learning disability, but often they are in the same class. So we need to consider. We need to understand this particular problem also. These slow learners will be having comparatively less IQ than these learning disability children. So what is their problem? Their problem is poor comprehension. They may not understand at one time. For example, if we ask them, go and take the water bottle from the fridge which is there in the third row and in red color. So the instructions are so many, and they may end up going to fridge, and then they may bring some a bottle which is stored of lemon juice or something like that. But we need water at that time, right? So it is like that. So even they are lacking in socializing skills along with some other learning difficulties also, right? So the next one is, I would like to tell you common symptoms of learning disability, and after this I would like to share one video with you so that you can understand very easily about it. Now the common symptoms of learning disability are problem in reading or writing, problem with mathematics, poor memory, problem in paying attention, trouble following directions. Yes, this is, you may be wondering about this one. What is the problem in directions? Generally, these children will be having problems in directions because if we say right, they may perceive it as left. Because when we are actually standing in front of them, we are actually showing, for me this is right, but for you actually it is left, right? That a normal person, a predominant person can understand. But these children may have a problem in understanding that as well. Now, next is clumsiness, trouble telling time, problem in staying organized also. But these are the symptoms will be there if the environment is not proper. And I have already given also the symptoms which are not included in this learning disability. So if that person is there in that particular category which are not having all these things, then please don't brand them also. As I already told you, branding them is a crime. This is just for the knowledge, so that you can guide a parent or a children to a proper channel. Yes. Next, ADHD. This is one of the interesting topics nowadays. Each and everybody says if when a child is actually little enthusiastic to know about something, little eager to know about something, then immediately they call them as ADHD. I don't know why the society is like this. Maybe by seeing some movies and all. But this is this particular labeling should be done by professional, a rehabilitation psychologist or a clinical psychologist who has the RCA certificate number only. Nobody should even call them. And even they are actually categorizing them so that how we can work, how we can give the intervention to the children so that we can minimize the problems. right? So that is the only reason they actually give the names, and that too only for the report sake and to give the intervention. Nobody will call with these names. Please remember this. Yes, and let me tell you about this ADHD. I have already given you the full form of this. That is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Is a condition that becomes apparent in some children in the preschool and early school years. It is actually hard for these children to control their behavior or pay attention. Right? I would like to give you some more facts about this ADHD. Like, it is estimated that between 3 and 5% of children have ADHD, or approximately 2 million children in the United States. Right? These many people is having ADHD there, but in India still so many researchers are going on, so many statistics are going on still. So I have given you a proper number which is there in other countries. Now, this means that in a classroom, at least 25 to 30 children, it is likely that at least one will be having ADHD out of these 25 to 30 children in a class. It is too sad actually, but yes, because of the pollution and so many other reasons, the parental age, there are actually prenatal, postnatal and natal stages, so many causes out there for this. Yes, but we are actually facing this situation. Now, I would like to tell you a few symptoms of ADHD. The principal characteristics of ADHD are inattention. They won't have attention. They can't sit at a particular place. Hyperactivity. They just jump here. They just fidgeting. So many other activities will be there, and they can't sit at one place. They may be banging the benches, and they may be destructive also. That is the reason impulsivity also. And these all characteristics may be in one particular child, or only one particular characteristic will be there in one child. This is again goes into the deeper knowledge about this, so that clinical psychologist or rehabilitation psychologist will take care about those. Now, the next one, these symptoms appear early in child's life, because many normal children may have these symptoms, but at a low level, or the symptoms may be caused by another problems, maybe because of the environment or the parental environment or the society around him also. We can't say exactly about it, right? So it is always better, whenever you see these particular symptoms, immediately go to a proper channel, a clinical psychologist or a rehabilitation psychologist. You may get bored when I'm using, to consult these professionals every time. But this is very important. Yes. Now let me go to the next slide. Yeah. Yes, this is an activity time. Before that, quickly, I will go to the video by which you can clearly understand about learning difficulties which students will be having, and even you may find it in adults also. But we have just crossed all these difficulties in our childhood or something like that. So let me. Loading. So in the meanwhile, when it is loading, any one of you, can you please tell me if you see any children like this, or parents are actually labeling them? Have you come across any kind of this situation at any time in your life?
Hi, this is Untitled.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm a father of 2 years old, and I see this. I see my doctor saying the same thing for my child. So he says my kid is ADHD, and she is not even 2 years old now. And he has seen her behavior, and he's been telling the same thing for two times. So I'm not sure if she's really that kind of.
Right, sir. I understood your problem. That is the reason why this session is going on. It is purely to give the awareness about few symptoms so that you can understand and you can go to the proper channel. Here, actually, you can understand there is a code of no entry, but you can find it as empty only. It is going in the wrong direction. It's like highway, you can actually perceive it as a different word. You couldn't even understand. It is a plus mark actually, and he found it as into mark. That means he needs to stop or something like that. There is no horn, but he actually find it as reverse, and he is actually honking. So in class, obviously because of all these problems, then he will be daydreaming. Even the direction is there towards the right side, and he has actually shown in a different way. So with the proper guidance, these children can definitely get benefited and they can actually eliminate these problems. Yes, let me start the PPT. I think this video has given you much awareness and it is easy to understand. Yes. So let me go for the activity time. Everybody, I think if you have any paper, please go ahead with that, or else, yes, we already have the power of mind. So, yes, use your superpower to understand this. Now, the activity is, please read the following carefully and tell the correct word or sentence. You don't need to tell right now. You can tell it later also, or else you can write the answers. The first one, whatever you see, you just understand it quickly and write the answers. And the time is 10:38. I may change the slide at any time. So let me see who all will write the correct answers. Okay, once if you finish, any one of you please let me know. Okay, shall I go for the next slide? Or do you want 30 more seconds? Yes, I can give you. Okay, I've gone to the next slide. So here, any one of you, can you please read what is there on the paragraph on the screen? Can you please unmute yourself and one of you can read what is there on the screen? Any volunteer here?
Can I, sir?
Yes, please go ahead.
There was there was a naughty girl in the class. She fought with everyone and thought, and no one liked her. One day she bought a fork. And one day she bought a, which word is that? From God.
Yes, it's actually interesting. Anyone can try. I'll tell you why I'm actually giving this activity. Right? So, we have already gone through everything. We have done our primary education, secondary education. We are almost working also, many of you. Or many of you are studying in graduation or doing some post-graduation courses. But still, we are finding a lot of difficulty reading at least 2 lines. Right? So, you just think from the child who is having the perceptual difficulties. They see each and everything in a different way. They have eyes, they have ears, everything all there. They can actually hear, they can actually see everything. But they perceive the things in a different way. And it is a quite challenging thing. So poor students, they have the difficulty, moreover we are actually labeling them. So because of that, they are going into the depression. And we feel that is our right. And we feel that only when we label them like that, then only they will listen. No, it is not like that. There is only trouble is, they know everything, but they can express only the happiness. They can't express sadness in a proper way. They are having the depression, but they think that, yes, my parents are shouting at me, so I think I should stop this. Something like that, that's it. But inside, they have the bad memories piled up. When they become older, then 100% their life, when they look back at their life, 100% they can remember only the bad memories. So please don't make a person's life as hell as like this, right? So let me go with the answers. Yes, see this is actually injustice, right? Without knowing the capability of the person, we are putting them in a wrong jar, right? So that's what happens. Let's see. Yes. Now see the answers. If you write the answers earlier, these are the correct answers. You can check yourself. HTIV, the W, is actually with. YBSO is boys. DNII is actually India. Right? So, the student who is having the perceptual difficulties, they read this like the first one. But the action matter is India is our nation. But they may be perceived this as well as India, C, Uro, Norton. Right? So, yes. The next one. Paragraph is also like this. There was a naughty girl in the class. She fought with everyone and thought no one is like her. One day, she brought a frog and was caught. When he complained was sent to her father, at that time he got to know that she is the principal's daughter, for which the teacher did a lot of laughter. Right? So this is a very funny and great paragraph, in fact. But if a child is having the same simple paragraph in the examination, when the child is unable to understand what is there, it is meaningless for the child. So how can we expect the child to write the answers? Right? So that is the reason mainly I actually conducted this activity relating to the school subject also. Yes. We'll go with this parent, how they can identify these learning difficulties. Right? So the good news about learning disabilities is that scientists are learning more and more every day. Their research provides hope and direction. Of course. So they have already done a lot of work and they are giving the intervention also. Right? Now, parents are often the first to notice that problem. because something doesn't seem right, then only parent can say. No other doctor or no other clinical psychologist will come to your home and see and say that yes, your child is having problem. No, nobody will do that. You are the first person who can recognize that. But when you have the proper knowledge, right? So let us see. If you are aware of this common signs and learning disabilities, then 100% you will be able to recognize the potential problems earlier than when they are going to the school, right? And it will actually help them into this intervention also. So right from the infant stage, we can identify these disabilities. Many, when I actually use this sentence, many of the parents say that, how can we identify when a child is not even talking? Yes, you can identify. These are called like developmental milestones. And it is very common in India. We do so many occasions. For example, by 6 months we give the annaprasna, we give the food, and by 1 month or 21 days we actually keep the baby in a swinging, right? All these things we do because we have the ancient knowledge. Though scientifically we didn't explain all these things, yes, developmental milestones we are following from the starting initial stages, ancient India itself. So let me go with that also. What are these development milestones? These are the set of functional skills or age-specific tasks that most children can do at a certain age. Right? I will tell you properly also about that. Yes, in the next slide, see, when we are actually talking about these developmental milestones, that means we are talking about developmental skills. For example, let me go with these few names: gross motor skills, fine motor skills, language skills, cognitive skills, social skills. These are the skills, 5 skills which are very, very important to any human being. Let me explain that as well. Gross motor skills means using our large muscles. Large muscles means like hands, the total legs. Okay, that means the muscles which we can use for sitting, standing, walking, running, all these things. Now we've been keeping balance and changing positions. So these are called gross motor skills. Now fine motor skills. Fine motor skills means using hands to be able to eat, right? Draw, dress, play, write, and do many other things also. Now you may be asking, in gross motor skills also, I told you the example of hands. In fine motor skills also, I told you the example of hands. The difference is, these are the smaller muscles. For example, in fine motor skills, we have the hands, but this hand is having the fingers also. How do you eat with the hand? You can't use the whole hand, but you use what? We use the fingers. So that is the reason, more specifically I have given the examples. These are the skills which we use it for the eating, drawing, for dressing, buttoning and all, lace tying, play, we can play with the fingers only, right? We can pick up something, writing, all these things. Now language skills. These language skills are also very important. What are these language skills? Anybody can understand when I use this. Speaking, using body language and gestures, communicating and understanding what others say. Right? Now, cognitive skills. Few examples of cognitive skills are like, thinking skills, including learning, understanding, like problem solving, reasoning and remembering. These are all under cognitive skills. Generally, we go through this every day. Problem solving, for example, yes, when you are actually waking up from the bed, there are so many obstacles around you, maybe stools or something like that. Maybe the other day party was there, so that was just unorganized. So the smallest problem solving here is, we just need to wake up properly, and then we need to look what are the items around you and properly walk without falling down. But this children is having the problem in that also. Now, social skills. Now, social skills means interacting with others, having relationships with family, friends, or teachers, around the relatives, and cooperating and responding to the feelings of the others also. Right? So these are the social skills. Mainly, these children will be having problems in this particular part only. Now, I will tell you more clearly about developmental milestones. By 1 month, they can actually lift their legs, open their eyes, everything properly, they can play, right? And by 2 months old, they can actually have the neck support, little neck support will be there. Now, by 3 months, they can grasp things. Right, 3 to 4 months. A few people may take it till 5 months also, but by 3 months at least they should grasp little things. At least if you can give them, they should be able to grasp. If they are not getting that particular development milestone, 100% you need to worry and 100% you need to actually take to the proper person. Now, by 4 months, their neck support will be proper. They'll be gaining the head and neck support properly. And by 5 months, they can turn over. By 6 months, they can even make some nonsense words also. For example, they may call like that. I'm giving these examples, right? And they can queen, they can cruise also, right? And then by 7 months old, they can actually crawl. By 8 months old, they should sit. Okay, if you find any one of the developmental milestone is not reaching, then you should actually reach out to the person. I will tell you about for which particular problem whom to refer, whom to go also. Now, the second one is developmental health watch. You need to watch it properly. Where are all the problems? Right, while developing, right? So these are few developmental health watches. Cannot walk by 18 months. If anyone's child is unable to walk even after 18 months, then it should be a triggering ring. You should immediately walk out to a pediatrician, clinical psychologist, or rehabilitation psychologist. I'll tell you more about it also. Now let us tell about the other things also. Like fails to develop a mature heel-toe walking pattern after several months of walking, or walks exclusively on his toes. I will tell you a proper example. You just consider this one as your heel. Okay, heel to toe means how we generally walk. We walk like this and then toes, right? We walk first, we keep the leg like this and then we walk like this. But for them, they may walk only on toes. Few children may walk only on toes, right? So if they fail to develop a mature heel-toe walking pattern, then 100% you need to go to the proper person. Now, they does not speak at least 15 words by 18 months. If they are unable to speak 15 words by 18 months, then it will be a triggering point. Now, does not use 2-word sentences by age 2, right? Does not seem to know the function of common household objects like brushing, how generally it is very common. By that time they can brush. But if they are not even unable to understand what is the function of that, how to brush, if they are take the toothbrush and doing some writing patterns, then it is not a proper functioning of that. Using the telephone, the moment we say telephone, they should at least see that hello or something like that. The functioning of bell, fork, spoon, by 15 months of age, then it will be a triggering point. Now, does not have imitate actions or words by end of this period. If they don't have imitation, for example, if we say hi, then even generally most of the children will say in the same expression also. But these children may lack in this, right? Even if sometimes they does not follow simple instructions by age 2. Simple instructions means it is nothing. When we are actually giving the food, we ask them to take the spoon. It is a very simple instruction. But if they are unable to follow that one also, it is a triggering point. Cannot push a wheel toy by age 2. Wheel toys are there. If they are unable to push that also, I'm not talking about the very big toys, but I'm talking about the very small toys. Okay, even if they are unable to push that, yes, I think there is a problem with the fine gross motor skills or fine motor skills, 100% it is a triggering point. Now let me go further to the next slide. Yes, developmental health watch. The next one is cannot throw a ball overhand. By throwing, they should at least throw the ball. For example, I'm just in front of them, maybe some 2 to 3 meters only, but they are unable to throw the ball to me properly in a different direction if they are throwing. Then there may be a problem. Now, cannot jump in place. In the same place, if they are unable to jump, there may be a problem. Cannot ride a tricycle. Cannot grasp a crayon between thumb and fingers and has difficulty in scribbling. See, this is one of the very, very important. At least you should find out this particular symptom and go to the proper person. they are unable to grasp the crayon between the thumb and fingers. Between the thumb and the fingers, we call it as tripod. Okay, then even if they are having the problem, difficulty in scribbling. For example, if I give you a square or if I give you a circle and give you crayons, then you may be able to draw or scribble inside that circle or square only. But these children may not be having that capability to draw or scribble inside that circle. So we should take that. Next, cannot stack 4 blocks. Generally, most of the children will be having toys like blocks. 1 by 1 ABC blocks we have, right? But they may not stack properly 1 by 1. Now, still clinges or cries whenever his parents leave him, right? Even after certain years, if we leave the child, generally they won't cry a lot. But even when parents are leaving after 2 years or something like that, they generally, if they are crying a lot, then there will be a small problem also. Shows no interest in interactive games and ignores other children. So they may be, they don't even have the eye contact, or they may not go to other children. They want to be isolated always. Then you need to check all these areas also. Now, doesn't respond to people outside the family. If all of a sudden, for example, grandparents came to their house. Nowadays we can see all nuclear families only. Only the father, mother and their siblings maximum staying in one particular home. At the time, for the holidays or something like that, grandparents came. Generally, they know the grandparents, so often they visit. But if they are not comfortable with them and they are not responding first of all to their family members outside of the family members, then it will be a great problem. Now, doesn't engage in fantasy play. What is this fantasy play? Children often take the role plays. Yes, I am the king. I can go there, I can go here, I'll be having a magical horse, and I can actually fly to that particular island, I can do so many things. All these fantasy plays will be there. If they are unable to engage in that one, that means there is a serious cognitive issue. Right? Now, imagination skills are very low for that particular child. Right? Now, resist, dressing, sleeping, using the toilet. Even at that age, if they are unable to go for the toilet properly, how to use it and all, if they don't know, and sleeping is a problem, they are sleeping by 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock and so many disturbances in the sleeping, and even they are unable to properly dress, how to wear the lower and the upper, right? So these are the triggering points. Doesn't use sentences of more than 3 words. Even at that age, if they are unable to use the sentence more than 3 words, for example, bring me the water. Okay, this is a very simple phrase, I can say. But if they are unable to use that particular sentence or phrase, then it will be a problem, right? Doesn't use me and use appropriately. For example, I want to go to a movie. A simple sentence is, I want to go to a movie. But if they are saying that, I want me to go to the movie, right? It will be a problem for the child who is actually having English knowledge from the childhood itself. Even though if it is not English, in the common mother tongue also, if they are using, instead of me, if they are using you, or instead of you, they are using me, in any language, then it is a critical point. We need to take him to the proper channel. Now, I would like to tell you age-wise characteristics also, so that what I feel is, if you see these common points age-wise, then you will be having a clear understanding. Now, let me go with this checklist of the characteristics. Now, in preschool, if a child is having learning difficulty, they may be having these particular problems. The symptoms: speaks later than most children, right? Pronunciation problems, slow vocabulary growth, often unable to find the right word. That means, yes, for example, they want to say thank you to the teacher. It is a very simple word, thank you to the teacher. But they think a lot, what is this word I need to say now? And most often they just avoid speaking itself. Now, difficulty in rhyming words. What are these rhyming words? Most of you already know that, right? For example, there are so many rhyming words. here, there and there, right? There are people, right? So like rhyming words are there. Even they have the problem in that. For example, few rhyming words like high and dry, they have the problem. Now, trouble learning numbers, alphabet, taste of the beat, colors, shapes, all these things also they have the problem. Extremely restless and easily distracted. Trouble interacting with peers. Difficulty following directions or routines. Fine motor skills slow to develop. That means writing everything is slow to develop. Now, when they achieve to the kindergarten to 4th grade, these are the most common children you need to find out, especially because their age is already almost like 5 years and 5 years and above, because they have already gone to this kindergarten, right? Now see, even if you don't find out the symptoms now and go to a proper channel, and they need to suffer a lot in their lifetime. So let me tell you about these particular symptoms. Slow to learn the connection between letters and sounds. What do you mean by this? For example, A says app. Most of the people says ape, apple, but we write APE or APPLE, right? So if they don't understand A says a, then it will be a problem. So we need to teach the phonics from the starting itself. So, and they have the slow recognition also about the letter and sound pattern. Now, confused in saying basic words. For example, run, eat, want. These are the few small words, but these basic words also, when to say, they have the problem. While they're eating, they may say, I'm running. They may confuse between using the words. Makes consistent reading and spelling errors, including letter reversals. I have already given you one particular letter pattern like B and B. Now you can see B and D. For bad, they may read it as dad. Inversions. M is like that, and if we actually invert it, it will become W. But they may perceive as W. Man is there, MAN. They may find it as van. Right? Transpositions, felt, FPLT. We have actually taken this transpositions concept when you are doing the activity. There are so many words I have actually transposed it and substituted it, right? Felt, FPLT, the same letters are there, but LEFT, left. They perceive like that. And substitutions. What is the substitution? Substitution means the same word, but they write it in a different pattern. Like house is there, they may write it in home. Both of the words is having the same meaning, but they substitute the word. Now transposes, number sequences and confuse arithmetic signs. I have already told you, plus with the minus or into or division symbol like that, they have all the confusions. Now slow to remember facts. What are the facts? Simple fact is sun rises from the east. Generally it won't rise, we know that, only because of the rotation and all. However, the basic fact is sun rises from the east. They don't even know, they actually get confused about the fact also, even though they see every time. Now, slow to learn new skills and relies heavily on memorization. Right? For few things, they no need to memorize. For example, drinking water. How do you drink water? Immediately we get a thought about drinking water through the glass or bottle. But for them, it is a problem. They need to think, okay, in which one I need to drink water. Even for that also, they need to depend on memory. Now, impulsive, difficulty planning. They have a lot of planning, difficulty in planning skills. Unstable pencil grip. I already told you, tripod grip will be losing. Maybe I don't have a pen here, sorry for that. So they may hold in a different way, not like this way. Some people may hold like this, some people may hold like this. Only children, some may hold like this and write. So these are all wrong directions. Now, trouble learning about time. Everybody can easily learn about time. If the child, when they are in schooling, if they are unable to learn, but teacher can actually show some teaching learning materials where dummy clocks are there, everything, they can easily understand. But these children, even after showing all the examples also, they may not understand the time properly. And poor coordination, unaware of physical surroundings, prone to accidents. Why I am saying this is because there is a other thing called vestibular sensor, which actually manages the balance coordination, and even as I already told you about the direction, spatial awareness, everything is there. So without knowing all these things, we are actually going too fast in the traffic, everything, because our vestibular system developed very well. We have the spatial relationship. When we can find only this much of space, we can actually, what we can do, we just go or turn aside and slowly walk. But these children having the spatial relationship, they cannot properly see, properly understand, yes, there is only this much of space, I should not run, I should not go straight, I should actually lean or something like that. They are having the problem in this one also. That is the reason they are prone to accident. Now, yes, my dear audience, everyone, I request you to concentrate on this particular slide. The main motto today is to make you understand about this particular slide only. That is the reason I have explained each and everything. No matter you remember the other things or not, please remember this particular slide, and if you want, you can write it down also. Right? This is very, very important. To whom to seek, the professional. If you have a problem in particular skill, to whom to seek. This is very, very important, because the main primary lacking area of this learning difficulties and all, for many parents, is this only. They don't know properly, and unnecessarily they give wrong names to the children, and often children will go into the depression. So please note down if you want, but remember, gross motor skills. Gross motor skills are here. I have already told you the large group of muscles: sit, stand, walk, run, etc. Right? So these are the muscles. If you find any problem in this, then 100% you need to seek a professional who is good at occupational therapy. That means occupational therapist you need to go. Right? You can find in any city nowadays occupational therapists. You can Google them. Right? Next, fine motor skills. If they're having problem in eating, drawing, dressing, play, or tying, writing, then you need to see again occupational therapist only. Language skills. If they are very slow in speaking, for example, gaining the vocabulary. If they are very slow in the talking, learning the language, then you need to seek speech therapist. If they are unable to talk, if they are unable to use words, even after 2 years or 18 months, then 100% you need to immediately go to the speech therapist. Next, cognitive skills. Cognitive skills means thinking skills, including learning, understanding, problem skills, reasoning, and remembering. Right? These are the very, very important skills which are playing a great role in learning academics also. So, if you find any problems in academics along with thinking skills, including learning, understanding, problem solving, reasoning, and remembering, 100% you need to go to the remedial therapist. Now, social skills. Interacting with others, having relationships with family or friends or the teachers or any relatives, or they are losing the cooperation or responding to the feelings of others, then immediately you need to contact counselor or behavior therapist. So please remember these things and go ahead, so that it will be very helpful for you, or especially if the child is actually going through the depression because of the labeling. Yes, I would like to finally show you a few famous people in the world who is actually suffered with the same kind of problems. Thomas Alva Edison, we know, the famous scientist who actually invented bulb, and so many other things also. That person is having dyslexia. Albert Einstein, we even now also consider he is the most genius person in the world. Even he is having dyslexia. Henry Ford, dyslexia. Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is one of the persons who won so many Olympic medals in swimming. He is having ADHD, hyperactivity. Their parents and everyone channelized in the proper way, and now we can see a successful person here. Daniel Radcliffe, you know Harry Potter movie. Everybody knows, and who won't love him? Everybody loves him, right? So he is having the problem with dyspraxia. That means the problem with the motor skills, gross motor and fine motor skills, right? Now the Tom Cruise, everybody likes him as an action hero. He has actually suffered with dyslexia. Walt Disney is famously Walter A.S. Disney. famously called as Walt Disney, right? Now even he has the problem with dyslexia. Stephen Paul Jobs, he's famous with his name Steve Jobs, right? He's having ADHD and dyslexia, right? And Alexander Graham Bell, dyslexia. Muhammad Ali, who is a famous boxer, wrestler, right? He's having dyslexia. The famous actor of your India, Abhishek Bachchan, dyslexia. Jamie Oliver is one of the great chefs. Even he's having ADHD. Will Smith, one of the famous actors, is having ADHD, right? So, finally, I would like to say, all of them is having these problems, but still they have succeeded. That is the reason I have actually written this. Our childhood is full of academic challenges, but we have still succeeded. If we can succeed, then you can too. Right? So thank you so much, Guruji. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity, so that the way, especially today is an auspicious day like Durgastami, the way Durga Devi has eliminated the evil powers. They have given me opportunity to actually eliminate at least some part of the society and their taboos on the particular part of the children. So I got this opportunity to at least give the awareness, to spread the light of this awareness on learning difficulties. Thank you so much, Guruji, and thank you so much everyone for your patience to listen to me. If you have any queries, you can actually meet out, but please don't label, please don't judge any child also. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Well done, Rajdeep. I think you can get out of the presentation mode unless somebody has got something to see again.
Yes,
I'm sure there will be a lot of questions and interaction. That will be the most visible and useful thing after any talk.